And good morning. It's an absolutely beautiful day, and the sun is coming in the window. If you don't mind, sorry for the glare, but I love feeling the warmth of the sunshine. On this class today, the focus is to start with just some basic stretches to protect our knees, backs, and shoulders in everyday life. And then we'll do feet strengthening work, build up some hip hinging patterns, but mostly will be different variations of core abdominal strengthening work. So to start out, if you could please get a chair. And we're going to go through a few stretches that if you'd like to, you can do seated in a chair, or we're going to do a more comprehensive series on the floor. Either way is as you prefer. So first, just sitting tall, and here we're working on the gluteus medius and piriformis muscles. If you bring the right leg up over the left and sit really tall, hold on to your right knee so that you don't let yourself twist the knee. And as you slightly hinge forward, you should feel a stretch on the outside of the right hip. And I would also keep the right foot flexed, the toes pulled up. The lower leg, the left leg, should be knee over ankle position. And recover and switch other side, left leg up. We'll just do a couple of repetitions here on the chair version. And then again, we'll go through this more comprehensively in just a moment. Sit tall, hinge forward. So your options will be either to go through similar exercises on the floor or continue with these variations in the chair. I would be careful of the head here. Keep the chin tucked in. You don't want your chin to go forward so that you can maintain a neutral spine position. Great. Okay, now if you could bring the right leg up again, switch sides, and hold on to the right knee. Bring the knee up toward the chest so you're protecting your knee. And rotate toward the right, but think of that rotation occurring in the right hip, not by twisting the waist. And come back to center. Again, sit really tall. Rotate in the right hip. So where your leg, the femur, attaches into the hip socket. Excellent. And center. And left leg lift. Again, protect your knee, no twisting knees. And sitting toward the left side, rotate in the left hip joint without twisting the rib cage. That's perfect. Head should turn slightly to the left, back to center. We always want to be sure that we maintain a neutral spine position, that there should not ever be over rotation of the vertebra. Each vertebra needs to be stable relative to the next. And then recover. And now if we stand up. And next we're going to work on releasing the gluteus maximus, the hamstrings, and the latissimus dorsi muscle down along the sides of the shoulder blades. So here, if you hold onto the chair, seat of the chair, and I would have the knees slightly bent. If you lock out your knees like this, you'll overextend the back of the knees and your Achilles tendon, then that will cause like friction essentially into your knee joints. So keep the knees a bit bent, arms straight, push the hips back. You can let your heels come to the floor, but still a slight bend in the knees. Now slightly straighten the knees, but do not allow them to lock out. Your spine should be neutral as you do this. And rock forward, so you don't want any sagging of the lower back and no hunching of the upper back. Keep the chin slightly tucked down so the head doesn't shift around, protecting the cervical spine. Should feel this again in the hips and your glutes down the back of your legs, but not pulling behind the knees. That would be the ideal. Rock forward. All right, that was great. So now, if you'd like to, you continue with those 3 chair exercises, or on the floor. The first one is called Pigeon. So if you could just come down to the floor, or else stay seated in the chair. The chair version is simply bring the right leg up on the other left leg. Floor version, right knee forward toward the right hand. On the floor, square the hips, so you don't want to be like leaning to the side. You want the hips should be facing toward the floor. As soon as you do that action, you should feel that on the outside of the right hip more. And if you'd like to, if you can go a bit lower down into it, elbows down. Okay, so both the people in the chair, people on the floor, if you press your right leg down, protecting your knee, breathe in and breathe out. And then each repetition, go a little bit lower, press the leg, breathe deeply. Deep breathing into the lower back. And with each breath, you should feel more of a stretch, more relaxation, and releasing of the muscles in the right hip. If you, on the floor, if you feel twisting of your knee, then I would suggest the chair version. Relax the shoulders and breathe. All right, that was perfect. Now left leg. So on the chair, bring the left leg up over the right. The floor group, left knee toward the left wrist. Left foot comes out toward the right side. Whatever you can do, there's no perfect position. It depends on you and where you are today. Right leg on the floor, straight. Square the hips toward the floor. Come down as low as feels comfortable for you. Press the left leg down into the ground or into the other hand and breathe. Depending on the day, depending on the person, sometimes you might feel the right hips are more restricted. Other days could be left hip based on whatever your activities have been. If you've been playing golf or tennis or gardening, there's generally a particular rotation, and you'll notice there's a little bit of malalignment. So here we want to correct that before we do the strengthening. And breathe again, lower back, exhale fully. As you exhale, pull your stomach in, expel all the air. Good, and recover. Okay, so next, in the chair, we'll bring the right leg up over the left, holding on to the knee and rotating toward the right side. The floor group, this is a little bit more awkward, especially if you're new to it. The basic position is lying on the right side, so you're right on the right. Let the top leg, the left leg forward, the bottom leg, right leg back. The right arm forward, palm up. The left arm, palm up, arm back. So the legs and arms are splayed equal and opposite, and the head turned toward the left. The chair group, we're rotating to the right. The floor group, head turns to the left. Now, the people on the floor, if you can do it, take your left hand, hold on to your right foot. If you cannot do that, no harm, just stay as you are. On the floor, if you can do it, right hand, hold on to the left knee. The floor group, head is turning left. Chair group, head is turning right. And to get deeper into the position, if you could think about your left shoulder back, left knee forward, equal and opposite, breathe and relax. Head back, left shoulder down, left knee forward, breathe. The chair group, you're going right side, floor group is going left. Okay, good. And now switch sides. The people in the chair, please bring the left leg up, holding onto the knee, and you'll be turning towards the left. On the floor, lying on the left side, right knee forward, left leg back, right arm back, turn head to the right, left arm forward. So here you're getting multiple stretches right across the chest into your neck, correcting the rotation of the spine, releasing your hips and quads. On the floor, if you can do it, right hand, hold on to left foot. Right knee forward, left hand on the right knee. If you can't get your back foot, that's okay. Just leave the legs splayed back. All right, so everyone, the chair people, you're turning towards the left. Hold and breathe. Floor group, head turned to the right. Right knee goes forward, breathe. And relax the side. The right-handed tennis golf people, generally this right side feels tighter than the left. And as we do this, obviously you'll help even out those imbalances. And just breathe and relax. Excellent. Okay, next position, if you're on the floor, if you could come up on the left elbow and bring the right knee all the way around to the front so it's on the floor, and then come up on the left elbow and right knee to maintain the spinal alignment. Next is the standing group holding onto the chair, and we're doing the rock back. Basically, it's like a push-up position on the floor as well. You could push-up position into downward dog. But I would really suggest that you keep the knees slightly bent, heels up, so that what we're looking for is a stretch along the hips and the gluteus maximus into the hamstrings. You definitely do not want to overextend the back of the knees. On the floor also, if you prefer it, you can do this one, crawl. This is crawl position, rock back into child's pose. And here I would suggest, as you're doing the rocking forward and back, you really do not want to let your spine shift. So as you rock forward and back, there should be no rounding or arching of the back. Whichever position, and take your time. To get deeper into each position correctly, at each end range, full breath. So you're in your push-up position or crawl position, breathe. Rock back. Keep the knees slightly bent. Keep the hips pushing up to the sky. Breathe. And then rock forward, push-up position. Rock back. Downward dog, but knees bent position, slight bend. It gets it good. If you'd like to slightly straighten the legs, but don't lock them so you don't overextend your knees. Rock forward. You should be feeling your abdominal muscles as you do the rocking action. All right, and now rest the people on the floor, everyone crawl position, knees down. For spinal protection, walk the hands back toward the knees. Sit the hips back. Then come up both knees. If you need to hold on to a chair, no harm. Let's bring the right leg forward, 90-degree angle at front leg. And stand straight up, no hands on knees, arms by the sides. And up we go. All right, that was really fun. So next area, what we'll do is strengthen our feet. We do a number of different variations today. We're going to do this is like a calf raise. Single leg calf raise. So you're standing on one foot. I would definitely hold on to the wall or a chair. And today, the leg should be straight but not locked. So the knee is not like this. The leg is quite straight, and it's not a knee bend. You just up and down using your foot, calf muscles, and arches. Now, if that's too challenging, or if you get tired instead, you would just stand on one foot and press the toes into the floor so that your arch engages. All right, let's start. Left foot facing the wall, toes facing the wall, right foot up, shoulders relaxed. Slightly tuck your pelvis, your lower back should not be arched, and up and down on the toes. Always be sure the big toe is pressing into the floor. We're doing this for 1 minute. Whenever you're tired, just keep your foot flat, press the toes, or take a rest, walk around a little bit. Over time, the muscles will get stronger. If ever you've had issues with your plantar fascia, I like to think of it like tissue paper, right? If you have a strong fabric, then you can jump on it and it's fine. If the fabric is fragile like tissue paper, you just walk on it and it rips apart. So what we want to do is not stretch the tissue paper, but actually strengthen it. So instead of tissue paper, you've got like good, strong wool. You should feel this in your calves without question up into the hips. And rest. Okay, that was perfect. Okay, now right foot. The toes pointing forward, spread your toes out. Left foot off the floor. Right leg is straight but not locked. Tuck the pelvis, lower back should not be arched. Relax the shoulders and then start. Always want to be sure we have good structure. Set our bodies optimally before we go. If your arch is tired, if your foot is tired, keep the foot flat and just press your toes down. Or take a rest, walk around a few steps and then continue if you can. Here especially be careful of the right knee. Often the right knee tends to shift in. Keep the knee centered over the ankle. That's excellent. For many people, you need to think about keeping the right knee out. Okay, and rest. That was excellent. All right, so now that we've released and strengthened the calves, now we'd like to integrate that pattern into our bodies. So we're just going to take a few walking steps. If you take a step forward and stop, the back foot come up on the tip of the big toe before you step through. The front foot, make sure that you land heel outside of foot, baby toe to big toe, push off the big toe. Just yesterday, this is a beautiful experience. I had a friend and her hips used to be really shifted off to the right side. For the few weeks she's been practicing this exactly when she walks. And yesterday, man, her hips were like so centered, it was amazing. And the difficulty was, previously, she used to walk with toes down first. So if you go toes down first, then you jam up your knee joints, okay? So really important to heel outside. If you're a sprinter, that's a different story. But for general average person, all of us walking, heel, not toe. Okay, that was fantastic. Now there's one more area that we need to attend to with regards to the hips and knees for stretches. This is the psoas muscle and the hip flexors. So here, if you would please sit in a chair. At the right side of the chair, right leg back, the toes should be pointing forward. And when you're here, you should immediately feel a stretch in front of your hip. Not lower back, so you need to sit really tall. And if you slightly lean back, you might feel it into your quads. That's good. Be sure the toes are like pointing forward, not angled out. Rotate towards the left side. Rotate toward the right side. We're going to do this a little bit quickly. Switch sides, left leg back. Okay, so first we're centered. Stay really tall, lengthen your spine, lean back. That's it. Should feel it in front of the left hip. Turn toward the right. And often, people have one side will be tighter than the other. That's okay. We're evening it out. Turn toward the left. Recover. Okay, that was perfect. Now we're going to do that again twice. Sit at the right side of the chair. Right leg is back. Sitting tall and just a slight lean back. Turning left. Turning right. And left side, left leg back. First center. Sitting tall, rotate towards the right in the right hip, not twisting the spine. Turn left. Good. Okay, one more time, both sides. Right side of chair. Right leg back. Toes are pointing forward, sit tall. Each time we go through it, it should feel a bit more open. Rotate left, sitting tall. And turn right. And left side one more time, left leg back. On your own, if you like, these are always good to do. Take your, you can spend more time here. You like to make sure you get into our weightlifting. I love it. Turn toward the right. I can't tell you how often I'm at the park, and usually when people see us exercising at the park, they immediately assume we're doing yoga or something. And then they come and ask, oh, what are you doing? And then, we describe about it. And people always make this comment, oh, I do a lot of stretching, but I really need to do some strengthening. I feel like I'm getting weaker and weaker. We hear that all the time, and it makes me very happy, actually, because that is true. We need to get stronger. Okay, so now we're going to start with just that. Here, we're going to begin with a weightlifting hip hinge pattern. It's called deadlift. If you could please get a weight. Here, you might use a heavier weight according to your ability. If you could just for a couple warm-ups here to learn the pattern, bring your hands on your thighs, feet hip-width apart. Brace your abdominal muscles. Think about engaging your glutes so you have a neutral spine. And don't bend your knees. They'll slightly bend, that is true, but push the hips back. And keep your hands on your thighs. So at the bottom, your hips should be about a foot behind your heels. Bring your hands on your knees and straighten the arms. So this would be the bottom position. The straight spine, you're looking down on a diagonal. Now from here, engage your buttock muscles, squeeze your glutes, and then pull the hips forward and stand up, squeezing the glutes. That is the pattern that we're going to perform with the weight. The weight should stay close to you, not in front like this. Hips back. The weight is in between the heels. Your foot, the angle of the feet. If you play tennis or golf, I would go a bit wide, or gardening. If your main activity is walking or running, you might go a bit narrow stance, but something in this range, slightly shoulder width or high or wider, hip width or a little narrower, but not too wide. Okay, so both hands are holding onto your weight. Let's do this together. Shoulder blades together, stand tall. Push the hips back. At the bottom, hold the bottom position. Breathe in. Breathe out. Squeeze your glutes and stand. At the top, brace your abdominal muscles, hips back. Hold at the bottom, breathe in. Breathe out. Pull the stomach in as you exhale and stand. Continue that action at your pace. Hold at the bottom in your good set position. So rather than doing many repetitions quickly with poor form and getting over fatigued, our objective here is to build up the muscular strength of the tendons, the ligaments that hold our joints together, so that when you apply force, when you're playing basketball, going for your long walks, getting in and out of your car, your joints can tolerate the force and also stay and healthy position. The number here we're doing is 15. I'm counting 15 reps at my pace. You just continue at your pace. At the bottom hold, you should be feeling this in your gluteal muscles in your buttocks. Initiate by pushing the hips back. The knees will slightly bend. You should not be feeling this in your knee joints. You may feel the muscles around the knees supporting, above the knees, below the knees. But there should be no pressure into the kneecaps at all. If there is, again, brace your abs before you start. Push the hips back. If you bend your knees too early, your leg bone will put pressure into the kneecap. And that's why the cartilage starts to break down. So we obviously are protecting that. And recover. Okay, good. So now we're going to do a swing with the weight to help mobilize the shoulder blade and strengthen the rotator cuff. Generally, a wide stance like this is best. The toes and knees should be pointing the same direction, like this. And then when you do the swing action, it's exactly the same hip hinge, hips back and forth, and the arm just swings quite freely out to the side. If you could start with right arm, palm is facing forward, in between the knees out to the right. If you would like to try a different angle here, feet together and the arm swings at the side. So either wide stance, arm swing out to the side, narrow stance, arm swing forward back. Always brace your abdominal muscles. And the power is being driven by the buttocks, by the glutes. So it's not like you're really trying to lift your arm with your arm strength, but drive the swinging action from the hips, power of the hips. And recover. Okay, that's great. Okay, left arm. So either you, again, legs are wide and you're swinging in between the legs out to the left, or feet close and the arms swing forward and back. I think this is obvious, so you want the hips to travel directly forward and back and not shift to the side. The force that's being applied here would be, of course, similar to the forces of swinging a golf club or tennis racket, baseball bat, or just carrying heavy bags. Moving the lawnmower around, recover. Good work. Okay, we'll put the weight down now. So now, next, if you could get a chair again. And we're going to go through a series of core strengthening maneuvers. And we'll demonstrate the versions for not being on the floor. And then we'll go through the extensive series. You can choose either sit in the chair, do what we're doing now, or floor options, which would be a bit more challenging. So if you could just sit in the chair. The first thing we're training here is when you're even walking or running, that the abs need to engage to lift the leg. If you bypass that, you'll pull off your thighs and strain your back. So if you could bring your hands across your chest, sit really tall. Brace your abdominal muscles. Lift the left foot only half an inch off the floor, hold it. Feel like you're using your stomach muscles, your abs, not just your thigh, foot down. Other side, brace abs, relax your shoulders. Right foot only half an inch, don't lift high. Good. And focus on using the abs and not the front of the legs. Okay, so now stand again. If you could get, please, a band. Ideally, a stretchy band. If you do not have a band, you can go through the same series just using the arms. The grip on the band is like this overhand, and then you wrap the hands and pull out so that you feel some tension. Okay, so now here, just stand really tall. Now, one area of when people don't have enough core support is when the arms come up overhead, the back will arch and the hips kind of sway forward. So we want to resist that action. Inhale, engage the glutes, inhale, arms up. Do not allow your back to shift. Arms down. Another factor here, the head. Only lift as high as you can without your head going forward. Over time, as we keep practicing, you'll be able to get up overhead. At this point, just if you have issues with your shoulders, you might just come up a few inches. But what you should feel is the abdominal muscles engaging as you do that action. Focus on using abdominals. Excellent. Every time you move your arms up overhead, your abs have to engage. Okay, now we're doing a rotational exercise. So you hold on to the band similarly, arms down. Just pull out, keep the shoulders back. Never allow the shoulders to roll forward. Okay, look straight ahead, chin parallel to the floor. Take small steps, stay in the same place, but small steps, walk in a half circle. Small steps, walk back. And notice as you're doing that, how your abdominals will have to engage. If you don't do that, you'll twist your back. And just walking half circle one way, half circle back. Recover. Great. Okay, so those will be the standing versions of our exercises. If you'd like to, if you can do it on the, come down to the floor, please bring your band along. Okay, so here's the first exercise. The chair group is hands like this across the chest, and as we practice, go brace abs, lift one leg, hold, other side, brace abs, lift. The floor, these are different variations of what's called dead bug. The grip on the band is as we practice, it's overhand grip, wrap the hands. And for this set, you keep the arms where they are. They'll just stay like this overhead, over the shoulders, so the shoulder external rotators are activated. Now the action is the leg extension. The option one is like this. If you could try this with me, just right leg straighten. Take a breath in, a breath out, and then pull your leg back. And notice as you do that, left leg straighten. Breathe in, breathe out deeply. And as you pull your leg back, notice how your abs engage. Okay, if you'd like to do that, legs up, knees over ankles. And now I would suggest only extending the leg 6 inches, hold, breathe in, breathe out. Bring the leg back. Other leg, extend 6 inches, hold. And absolutely, you should be noticing your abdominals. If you feel this in your lower back, or if you feel it too much in your thighs, that means that you're bypassing your abdominals and just using your quads. So the focus here is stomach muscles. Alternating sides. Now, is it better to straighten your leg fully? I would say in general, no. If you straighten your leg fully, you'll just start straining your back more. Right now we're focusing on abdominal muscles, not lower back. You don't want to grab. Yesterday we did our spine strengthening. Right now you're applying and building the abdominal strength to support your back. You don't need to strain your back to do that. In fact, straining your back makes it worse. All right, so if you don't have sufficient strength to do it like this, then keep the feet on the floor and just do sliding the leg on the floor. Everybody recover. Okay, now the people who are in the chair, you can stand up, and now we're going to perform the overhead movement. So every time the arms come overhead like this, then automatically your abdominals will engage. What we want to prevent here is hyperextension of the lower back. So standing group as we practiced, arms up, overhead, inhale up, exhale down. Floor group, either you can keep the feet on the floor, inhale, arms back behind head, exhale, arms up, or legs up, same action, inhale, arms back, exhale, arms back over shoulders. Now, what to be conscious of, everybody? Your abdominals need to hold the ribs in place. Notice as the arms start lifting, the ribs want to kind of jut forward. So use your abdominal strength, keep the ribs in the body, even though you're breathing. Keep the ribs in. Do not let the ribs go forward. Great. Okay, now the floor group, if you feel it in your thighs or in your lower back, that's just an indication your core is not engaging well enough. You might prefer to keep the feet on the floor. Arms overhead, keep the ribs down. Inhale, overhead. Exhale, arms over shoulders. If first at this point, if you feel a discrepancy between the right arm and left arm, you might continue with our classes, and over time that discrepancy should even out, or you could let me know and we can look at your particular issues. But I've met countless people. When we started doing this, generally the left shoulder doesn't get to the floor, the right arm does. Over time, in all cases, it improves, if not completely correct. Love it. Okay, rest. Everybody rest. Arms down, legs down. You should have felt that in the abdominals. Okay, next one is the rotation. So the people who are standing, as we practice, you just keep the arms down and take small steps, turning one way, turning the other way. Automatically, when you do that, your rotational core muscles will engage. On the floor, I think this one's really fun, actually. So it's the same position we just started with, like this, but this time you rock to the sides. So you can go like just 1 inch to one side, come back to the middle, 1 inch to the other side. What you have to be careful of, I like to think of a cradle. The arms are like the headboard, the legs are the footboard. So when the cradle rocks from one side to the other side, the arms and legs should not separate relative to each other. And ideally, use your abs. You might use your glutes as well. Do not push off. So what should be happening is no crashing down, that you're stable throughout. And when you come back up, you're not pushing off. Instead, you engage your abs to help you come back up. And rest. Just recover for a moment here, arms down, legs down. Okay, now people on the floor, you can put the band off to the side. We're going to rotate now over toward the right side. We'll do this together. So turn right onto the right side of your body. Come up on the right elbow, but don't come up yet. Bring the left knee all the way around to the floor. Straighten the right leg, that's the way. And then come up on the right elbow, left knee. Okay, last time we got up right leg, so this time we're going to get up left leg, hips back to heels. Come up on both knees. Left leg forward should be a 90-degree angle. Don't put pressure on your knee, that's why you blow it out. Then stand straight up. protecting your spine. Okay, that was really fun. Next part, that was core. We did a lot of core shoulder work. Now what you want to work on is the lateral chain, the outside of the hips. So when you're playing tennis, you're good with this kind of action. When you're getting out of the car, that you don't twist your knee joint because the hips are moving properly. So here, if you'd like to use a band, a stretchy band again. Now these are called mini bands. This one is not one. They're basically this dimension, like about a foot diameter, I say. And they're generally just like thick. And that, if you can get them at a lot of sports stores. So this one, I just have a long piece of tubing that I'm like looping up. If you have a second one, so here I have another long one. Ideally, it would be, like this kind of a shape, another mini band. If you have no bands, you just perform exactly what we're doing with just your body. I do this all the time with people, and it's remarkably effective. Okay, now the position of the one on the legs, you can either put it in most people put it up into their shins, like right up here into the shins below the knees, or you can put it around your ankles. I like to have it in my arches, because then you really feel that your arches, your feet, your ankles, your knees and hips are all working together to create that proper alignment. So that's my preference, but shins is good. In your thighs even is fine. No band is also fine. Okay, the arm position is this, like arms just in front like this. Okay, you can just keep, for most people, especially if you're new, I would keep the arms like this. Don't move your arms. For those of you who've been doing this for a while, I like to use another mini band and put it around the wrists. So again, you integrate your shoulders more. Just if you have the band, you want to keep the elbows in. Don't let the elbows flare out, okay? Cool. So this is the exercise. I'm going to do 2 reps, then we'll do it together. So you push the hips back, just like we did earlier, hip hinge. Sit down a little bit. You don't have to go low. Then you step to the side, stop. You deep breath in, deep breath out. Step together. Keep going the same direction. Step out, stop. Breathe in, breathe out. Step together, and then rest. Okay, now we're going to do it together. Everybody ready? So you'll need some space, right? Because you're basically walking sideways. All right. So first start. You got your band set on. Toes are pointing forward. Push the hips back. Sit down just a bit. Arms are set. Step to one direction. Stop. Breathe in and breathe out. Step together. Step. Stop. Breathe. Keep going the same direction. If you're tired, just rest a little bit, stand up, right? Without question, you should be feeling this in your hips, on the outside of the hips, and in your legs. Like, I find this is an amazing way to strengthen your legs. Stop. Okay, that was really good. Now this set, we're going to focus on keeping the body weight evenly distributed. Okay, so you're going to exactly the same thing. We're going the other direction, so you go back the other way. But when you step, get your body weight even on both feet. Okay, here we go. Hips back, sit down, step, stop. Set the body weight even on both feet. Step together, step, stop. Stop, hold, breathe. Distribute the weight evenly both feet. Keep the knees out. You don't want the knees to come in. That's perfect. Now you feel it more in the hips, exactly that. And now the toes, the feet, make sure they're not angling out Toes pointing the same direction as the knees. Basically, the feet should be more or less forward, not out to the sides. Usually people out-toe to bypass the glutes, actually. And no, you should be feeling it in your legs, like you should be getting really fatigued. Rest. Oh, that was hard. Okay. Now we're doing that again, twice more. Oh my God. Okay, one more set here. Here's back to you. Set up the arms. Push the hips back. Oh, wait, start again, stand up. Your back should not arch when you do this, so brace your abs. Push the hips back. Arms are up. Step, stop. Breathe. Body weight even on both feet. If you're fatigued, just rest, walk around a little bit. Do this without the bands if you want to, just walking sideways to strengthen the external rotators of the hips. This is another common area that attributes to the knees breaking down. When the external rotators of the hips are not supporting the femur well enough, the knees will shift around too much. And then when there's too much friction in the knee joints, of course they break. Stop. Recover. Okay, this last time, if you can do it. And again, like don't make it easy. You can just stand up and walk sideways, that's fine. If you want to, hips back, a bit of a squat, step, go, stop, breathe. Step together, step, stop. Keep the knees out. Yeah, and relax and breathe every rep. Keep the shoulders relaxed and breathe. Don't let your back arch. I really like doing this because it's an easy way, in a matter of a few minutes. You really get your cardio going. You build up the alignment and the strength of your hips, protecting your knees. Your legs get very strong. Recover. Okay, that was awesome. Now just walk around a bit. As you stand, you notice that your legs feel a lot stronger, and that you shouldn't feel loose, like, floppy, like Gumby. You should feel strong and stable with the joints well aligned. Okay, one more exercise we're going to do. And this one is another core strengthening, rotator cuff strengthening. Here, you'll need a ball if you have one. It can be any size, actually. Even like a golf ball is fine, tennis ball. Medicine ball or Pilates ball that's weighted would be ideal. So this one is a med ball. It's 8 pounds. But whatever you have, like I said, golf ball is fine. If you don't have a ball, you just use your hand. Okay, now the exercise is to draw squares. So we'll have one arm on the wall. For precision of the shoulders, it's not circles, floppy circles. Rather, it's precise squares in both directions, okay? And now we're going to work on our balance and alignment, working the right side, left side, even them out. So the first position is right arm out to the side like this, and square one way, square other way. All right, so make sure the toes are pointing forward. Set yourself so you're centered first. Hips are square forward, shoulders square forward, no twisting of the spine. Look straight ahead, don't tilt your head up. That's right. Okay, now you've set your body strongly and centered, aligned, so that when you're swinging a tennis racket or moving your lawnmower around, your spine maintains its integrity, and you still have the strength to move your arm without hurting your shoulder. You want to strengthen those tendons around your rotator cuff. Align the shoulder, elbow, and wrist joints. Like all those endless hours at the computers, right? Our wrists and shoulders get weak, our core, when people are at the computer after they get off, they totally lost core strength and all hunched up and stuff. So you really have to do some strength training to balance out our lifestyles. Other side, left arm. Good, and draw squares one direction. Okay, I would say commonly the left side here is weaker, and it's not just because you're right or left-handed generally, that the right side of the liver is bigger and more dense than the left side. The diaphragm has more attachments to the ribs on the right than the left. Various reasons, the right side tends to be thicker and more dense than the left side. The position of the heart. There are many factors anatomical. So don't be surprised here if the left feels like it's more challenging. And if it doesn't, then I'd say good. It's great. Avoid lifting the left shoulder up to the ear. Try to get more of your core support here. Keep breathing. Okay, rest, that was fantastic. Okay, now, one arm, one leg. So when you are walking, it's a diagonal vector, opposite shoulder to hip, that's what we're training. Right hand holds onto the ball, ideally above your head. Left foot is centered under you, right foot off the floor, and squares. One direction, other direction. So I like this one actually, right, because of your foot, how you notice how your foot has to engage, stabilize the hip, get that connection from the hip to the shoulder. So what's happening, even though you don't feel it as firmly, is that the abdominal muscles are holding your hips and ribs in place against a force of rotation. And keep breathing deeply. The shoulders should actually be quite relaxed if you have good core support. You might always think about engaging the glutes, that always helps. Stop, other side. Okay, right foot is on the floor, spread your toes, left hand on the ball. Left foot off the floor. Be sure your right knee is not locked out. Now, I would say commonly, the right knee wants to go in. Make sure the knee stays over the ankle, doesn't shift in. Keep the left shoulder down from the ear and look straight ahead. Be careful of twisting your neck to one side or other side. And remember to breathe. Good, now focus, see the foot is engaging solidly. Your abs are engaging, that's the way. You might engage the right glutes, but make sure you don't let your knee shift in. And rest. All right, that was fantastic. And thank you for joining me. My name is Uttara. If you would like to attend some of our classes, send me an email, or if you have any particular questions, let me know. Thank you very much. Have a good day. Love the sunshine.